Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Fast Frame. We tell you all the time about the matting that they can do. We tell you about the frames that their specialists can work with. But their museum quality glass is a great bonus too. Take a look at this. That newspaper, folks, is from January of 2002. It's 12 years old. It's the same color now as it was then. Not one bit of yellowing because they put it behind museum quality glass. Great work at Fast Frame. I'm telling you, you got to get down there, check it out for yourself. Fast Frame of Knoxville. All right, back to our quickie countdown. Georgia is up next. I want to know if new defensive coordinator Jeremy Pruitt, who came in from Florida State and had been on Alabama staff the 2 previous years, the guy's coming in with 3 straight BCS title rings. I don't know if he can build a championship caliber defense at Georgia. Now, let's simplify this. I don't mean win the BCS title at Georgia, but let's say win the East. They did not have a great defense last year. Can he build their defense to a championship caliber in year 1?
Yes, I think he can. The thing that's going to be the big question mark is a secondary that lost 2 starters, Matthews and that Harvey Clemens guy. But their linebacking core, to me, is the best in the league. They got 4 guys that can play. And their defensive line, they got a couple of decent players up front. But I think he's a really good coach, a very good instructor. So, yes, I think their defense will be capable of helping them win the East Division.
And that's the reason all the pressure is going to be on their offense. I mean, you replace Murray after all these years. You got Gurley, you got Mitchell, and you've got Hudson Mason.
Yep.
And I think Georgia's is going to be how their offense goes, because I think they will have a very good defense. Is their offense going to be capable of playing up the same level as their defense?
One thing I think is a positive for the changeover defensive coordinator, a lot of the players talked about this spring. Grantham came in there after a decade in the NFL. He ran a highly complicated scheme. The players at Georgia now saying that Pruitt, everything's simplified. We're focusing on just doing 5 things really well instead of 100 things decently, and the communication is much easier. I think they're going to take a step forward on defense and the questions on offense.
Yeah, you look at Georgia, boy, they've had more than their fair share of injuries, too.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with Todd Gurley. I mean, I think he's the best player in the SEC, and he didn't even play the whole month of October. Still had, I think, over 900 yards rushing. I like Georgia, I like 9.5, and they could get to that 10. I mean, a lot's going to come down. Georgia at South Carolina, boy, that's going to be a big game.
Yeah. All right, Kentucky is next. And this is a school with Neil Brown as offensive coordinator. They brought him in to run the air raid offense. Last year they had trouble finding a quarterback. Max Smith plays decently well, but he can't stay healthy for 2 games in a row. Jalen Whitlow, who played most of the time last year, has transferred out. So they got Patrick Tolles, who you see there. He was supposed to be the next Tim Couch, but he hasn't lived up to it. 4-star freshman Drew Barker is now the fan favorite because he's a 4-star. And then you got Reese Phillips. We'll also get a look. Thoughts, will Kentucky find a quarterback? If you're going to run the air raid offense, you got to find a quarterback. I don't know if they will.
I don't even know if they find a quarterback if it's going to make that much of a difference. Their offensive line's not real good. And so I just think Kentucky is looking – are they improved? Yeah, I think they're slightly better than they were, but I still don't think they're up there with the rest of the league. I mean, they're uncomfortably close to Tennessee, but they're not uncomfortably close to South Carolina and Georgia.
Your quarterback play is helped if you've got help around the quarterback.
Yep.
And they don't, in my opinion. How about this for an insult? ESPN rated Kentucky the worst offensive line in the SEC, and they have 4 starters returning.
It's pretty sad.
The receivers are pedestrian. The running backs are average.
So
What you got?
Would that be considered subtraction by addition?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's just going to be tough. That shows how tough the SEC is. I mean, and there's a lot of excitement about Kentucky, and that could be one of the surprise teams. But they don't have all of the parts yet. I mean, I'd have them at 3.5 until they win more than 4 games. I mean, it's just you can't really think it's going to be that big of an improvement there.
Mark Stoops is in the same boat as Bush Jones.
I
It's
was
going
just
to take time.
I was just going to
Right.
say, here's your question. Would you rather have Kentucky's experienced offensive line or Tennessee's unexperienced offensive line? I'd take Tennessee's.
So did ESPN.
The deal is you got to give credit. Just like you look at Butch Jones, you say, okay, he's recruiting well. Mark Stoops has recruited very well at Kentucky. He's quickly put down inroads to his home state of Ohio, which has always been a
Right.
must for a Kentucky coach. All right, and the last one in this segment, we'll go through Arkansas kind of quick. 3-9 last year. Several bizarre comments from their head coach last year. He got mad at SEC Media Days with something Gus Malzahn said. Later in the year, he was talking about Ole Miss and didn't like having. He made the comment that a lot of schools in the SEC or where they're located in these little towns make it difficult to travel to. My question is this guy who looks a lot like Curly Joe from the last of the Three Stooges, is he a fit for Arkansas and the SEC? In
No.
other words, if he starts winning, you're jumping ahead now.
No, I mean, and he campaigned for the job right away with the letter to the card to the school president when they were having problems. So I mean, I would say no.
All right, then you start first.
All right, I've got him at 4.5. I mean, how many games did they win in the SEC last year?
Ought.
0. So
Well, in honor of the World Cup, nil.
nil.
Yeah.
Is he a good fit?
No, worst team in the SEC, I think.
Wow. That's saying something.
I think they're going to be challenging Kentucky for the worst team. They've got good running backs, and I understand what he's trying to do there in building a running game. I don't see him getting it done there. And the quarterback play is not very good either. So he had a really good resume coming from Wisconsin, but I don't think he fits at Arkansas.
It looked like a brilliant hire. It looked like the best of the hires made that year, and yet now that you see it, he inherited a roster that was built for a completely
It did.
different style of football. It was all skill players. Now he comes in there and he wants to have a big offensive line and great backs. He's got some good backs. That Alex Collins is real, but it's going to take some time, I think. So I don't know if he'll get time to be a good fit. I guess that's the way of putting it. All right, and when we come back, 3 more schools, 2 of them on Tennessee's schedule. We finish up the SEC next. Come on back on the Sports Source.